Well, hello, everyone. I am bringing someone very special to the F Word today. And today we get to welcome Jamar Jones of Foureva Media to the show. And you know what? I've already learned in our little short talk before this, you're quite a visionary. And I do believe that you had written that on something, and I'm excited. You believe in more than the product, the service, about this change, building up others. Oh, speaking my language, because that's what I do
Yeah,
too. And I
yeah.
believe in it, creating things that are relatable. What? Why are we doing that? You know, when everything could be so much more boring. Nobody said that ever. And that you're surrounding yourself with good people who are pushing you forward. And I love, these are your own words. It's time for everyone to start thinking differently. And I couldn't agree with that more. So welcome to the F Word, Jamar. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Your personality is so huge.
Ah,
It's just
I'm calling you every day now. Stop. Stop. No, it's just great. I
I love
love
it though.
thank you for that. And I enjoy telling people how we get folks like you to the show. And this one's a big shout out to Amy Waninger. We're both Amy Waninger
Yes.
Love Fest fans.
Yes. Yes.
She is
I love
amazing.
Amy.
Yeah,
She's
she's
amazing. Just kind-hearted. Just really always about promoting others and
yes,
connecting. And I
yes.
mean, she's great. She's
Yeah,
great.
I am one of her biggest fans. And she promoted your recent book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And I was like, oh, I got to know this man. And you were kind enough to take a chance on some crazy woman who reached out and said, hey, we're going to be friends. You don't know it, but we are.
If
And
you're a friend of Amy's, I'm already like, I'm good, like that's
uh,
already enough to get through the door.
I love that. This
So,
is wow. This is going to be like the Amy Waninger fan fest here. So I'll be excited for that. I definitely want to talk about your work in media, but first I would like for you to sort of lead us up from your background to forward. Like, how are you doing this today where you're at?
that's a very loaded question. Um, and I'll try to make it as exciting and short as possible.
All right.
So really that's kind of how the concept of the book came to be, with change your circle, change your life, because I have changed my circle many times. I've almost lived many lifetimes, I feel like, already,
Mm,
to experience different things. But it's not like I was coming out of high school and saying, oh, I want to be into marketing and into media. That was not my focus. My focus was actually music. Music was, and still, I still love music, but I was pursuing a music career in hip hop, and I had worked my way up basically through that, to one point, probably in my mid 20s. That's probably like the peak of where I was at with music, where I was doing about 100 shows a year, and
wow.
I performed all over the Midwest and also the East Coast. But I booked every single show myself. So I was just always hustling, always had that mindset of just changing those circles. So even from the music industry, and then actually I was working a lot of odd end jobs at the time as well. Because the classic word of starving artist. It's basically what it was, until I had an opportunity from a friend of mine at the time, and their mom said, "Hey, this place is hiring. You don't need any type of experience. They're just looking for people to answer the phone." And so that's actually when I stepped my first foot into IT. So then I worked my way up into that company for 8 years and became an IT manager there as a production lead, where I led a team there. But I basically just worked my way up, and I learned a lot of key life lessons within that, just about the corporate world. And I just had a great mentors, and that's also in my book, where I talk about, you need a mentor, you need somebody that's going to help guide you and get your brain thinking differently, and get set up for success. So through that and through music, we're starting to go through that path. And then it's crazy because in Minnesota, so for performing at the University of Minnesota, it was the second show out of three that weekend, and then I had torn something in my vocal cords. So I was
Mm,
performing, and I just like spit blood on the side, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. My guy was with me. So luckily he was able to kind of keep it going. And through adrenaline, I finished the show. That night at the hotel, I was like, man, something is going on here. I don't know what's going on.
mm.
I could barely talk. The next day I did a newspaper interview, and then I had another show at Hamline University in Minnesota. So I basically just did my Mariah Carey, and just lip saying that whole thing. I
He said
literally had
that.
no,
So come at me. He said it.
I had no voice there. I was not about lip singing, but if you have no voice, you gotta have to, you gotta do what you gotta do. So then I saw the doctor when I got back in town. Live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I got back in town, and then so basically I have an inflamed lymph nodes under my right near my throat, and basically I
Mm,
strained it so much that I can't continue to do that. So I had to really say, what am I going to do now?
yeah.
And I went through 2.5 years of depression,
Mm,
just a bunch of trying to self-discovery, just like finding yourself. And when your back's against the wall, you had to find yourself. Did some IT there. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just pursue IT, did music a little bit here and there, trying to dabble in it. But then got let go. So then about 45 people lost their job there at the IT place I was at. And I was one of the 45. And so I was like, what do I do now? Do I go and, you know, find another IT job? Is it my passion? Is it something I'm really into? Or do I do my own thing? So I started my first company, Forever Productions, and the rest is history. I basically just grinded the same way I did for music, grinded the same way I did in the IT field, worked my way up. And one thing that was clear is that I'm definitely a visionary, and my leadership skills, at least what other people tell me, is that I'm, kind of a leader and somebody can follow and be able to have belief, into where I'm going. So I just constantly created, and now today, Foureva Media is here. We're in Brookfield, got an office of about 7 people here working, and amazing, just amazing. I just every day I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, can't believe it.
I
I
love this.
just can't
I
believe it.
love this. And I know financial service people who are listening going, what am I listening to this for? You just hang on. I'm bringing this home and you're going to see why. Because
Sorry for
all
the
of you,
long-winded answer of
no, but they're going to see why. They're like, that's why. That's why he's on the F word. Because I want to talk about the marketing. So I got a couple awards. I'm pretty good at that in financial services. But you, my friend, are into places like, I don't know, Red Bull. And my husband got particularly excited about the Six Flags. I just have to give a
yeah,
shout.
yeah,
Daryl
yeah.
worked there as a teenager. So for him, he has still this. In fact, we were walking someplace last night and he goes, smelled asphalt. He goes, smells like Six Flags. I'm like, weirdo. Who cares about he says, I still remember it. They lay
Smells like
fresh
Six
ash.
Flags.
I know, right? Isn't that funny? But I'm curious, as we go into marketing.
Yeah.
I get a lot of calls and people are like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And pick your brain and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about broad marketing right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So not just financial service people, because I can tell you a lot of them are making these mistakes because I see it on LinkedIn and Twitter, and even on TikTok. Okay. But what are some of the people getting wrong in their marketing today on a broad spectrum? Because you're dealing with a lot of different products and services that you're out there doing your behind the scenes work for.
Yeah. One of the main thing that's consistent pretty much with everybody, there's very few people that actually can really get this right, is that they basically start marketing backwards. So what they're doing is they're like, okay, let's get out this product or service. They're just being salesy, completely salesy, and they're basically not leading with a why. Why in the world should anybody care about your product or service? So when I got business coaching from Marcus Lemonis, aka the Prophet. So when I was sitting in a room with him for about an hour and a half, he boiled it down to these 4 key points that you just need to solve as a company. And that's, who are you? What do you do? How do you do it? And why do you do it? If you can just solve those things and put that just in your forefront of your marketing as far as the brand awareness piece, and put that out there as a starting point, that's what people want to know. They don't want to know about all the technical stuff and why you're better and awards and all this other stuff, just all this fluff that, kind of comes with why we're better and all of a sudden. They want to know why you do it at the core level. What are you about, and why should I trust you? And build that rapport as a consumer, and then be able to say, why should I actually engage with you, and also, where are you going? So a lot of people work it backwards, where they're just constantly just promoting and sales and just pushing that out, when it's like, it just becomes, comes across as like, it's noise. It's complete noise. And if you're marketing, you want to, have something that's also relatable, something that people can actually attach themselves to. And that's where that why comes in. So that way you can really get down to the core values of what your product or service is actually about.
I really love that. And I'm going to tell you, it's funny. Here in St. Louis, down 70, one of the main freeway systems here, my favorite billboard ever is a company. It's, and I'm not going to say who it is, but it's my favorite because it's so grossly honest. It's a real estate company that says, we don't want to be number 2 anymore. Help us get to number 1. I love it. They don't even hide that. Every time I read it, we know. I love, I'm going to point it out because I'm like, I actually want to help them.
Right.
Because they're so honest and they're saying, I want that number 1. I'm going to put it out here that we are. And it makes you laugh, but then you're like underdog. Like you just want to come in and help, like boost them up a little. And I've actually took the time to come in, look at their website and reach out to them. And I'm like, if I know some people, I'm going to send them to you. We're going to get you. And they're like, that's all we want. And I think it's funny, but and you make light of it, but it is in seriousness. I'll pick on somebody who's too easy to pick on, McDonald's. Oh my gosh. They're going to show up consistently, no matter what, what they're about. It's going to be low cost. You know that the burgers are going to taste exactly the same in, Carrollton, Texas, as they do in Milwaukee. Right. Okay. We also know, correct me if I'm wrong, their ice cream machines are going to be down. Look at you laughing. You're laughing because it's true.
Always.
Your to-go order out the door. It's going to be wrong. You pull up to the drive-thru. And I laugh about that because they're so consistent and they're still got people coming because that they're going to be in neighborhoods where people can come. They can be affordable. They are relatable in their advertising. And you just you give them a hall pass on it. Because even if you get up there and you're like, damn, ice cream machine broken again. You just change the order. You don't like, oh, I'm never going to go there again. Because you're there the following day getting some McNuggets or whatever it is. Okay. So I think that that's really important for people to understand that. How can a brand completely not have what you want, but they show up and you're just like, yeah, it's just the way it is, and I have a lot of respect for that. And the work that you're doing behind the scenes is really hard because I can tell you, as somebody who's worked in marketing for a very long time, sitting in a room and telling someone their baby's ugly.
Oh my God. It's
brutal.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. And especially you got to do it in a way that it's dealing with personalities. Honestly, you're just dealing with other people's personalities when you're dealing with marketing, branding, and just what that top of level is. Because we do a lot of, branding, strategy, discovery, identity, because a lot of times you have to start there before you're going to do any of this other stuff. So you have to look at that. But you're more just fighting personalities. You're fighting some old school mindset over here. Oh, this is what we've always done. Blah, blah, we're the best. And then it's like, times have changed, man. Like, I'm sorry, but bro, times have changed. It's time to start thinking a little different, thinking outside the box a little bit and listening to others that are maybe growing up in a different era. Just listening to that. And sometimes they're like, well, this website's worked for me for years and blah, blah, blah. I don't need to update it. But it looks like a dinosaur stepped on it. So that's, you just gotta, you have to be willing to, be transparent and be a little vulnerable to listen to those ideas and take those constructively and really to grow as a company and as an individual, because it's just so important. Because a lot of times we're just battling egos and personalities, and at the core, if you can get past that, a lot of stuff is possible.
Yeah. And I have little key things that I've said here in my own business and practice. When somebody doesn't want to hear their baby's ugly, I'm like, well, that's a baby.
Yeah.
That's a baby,
They got to grow into something, right?
Yeah. I'm like, and then my and this is only going to be funny for people who know technology, but as soon as somebody says that their website's written in PHP, I go, like, I just see, that's only going to be, funny. You laughed. Other people won't, but I'm like, all right. Wow. Okay. And yeah, am I, it's interesting. Or when people here in financial services, I had somebody who had on their LinkedIn, we help people from the crib to the grave.
Oh God.
If you're that person listening right now,
Oh my
please call
God.
Jamar. Don't do say,
The
yeah,
crib to
because
the
I said the
grave.
crib to the grave. I know. And I'm like, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
It's funny because it's true and it's awful. And people are very quick to say things like social media doesn't work. It
Mhm.
does work. There's lots of people. And I got to tell you right now, if I hear one more old person say to me, oh, that TikTok, I am telling you right now, that is the best. I love
Yeah.
TikTok. I love the
Yep.
creativity it affords. It provides people with this outlet to take something and make it something. I mean, I am amazed. There's no other word for it, of what some people will put out there. I'm like, well, wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But some of the brands or people who are getting it right or who are partnering with micro influencers out there,
Oh yeah.
that is just gold. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just gold and it's
There,
changing it up and it's
yeah.
relatable.
Yeah. And there's so many things like that. And that's so key. I'm glad you brought that up because there's so many areas of marketing that hasn't even been like truly tapped into. And a lot of especially corporate businesses or certain, I would say medium to large businesses, they haven't fully maximized and or know-how, have the know-how to really interact with those different marketing strategies. Influencer marketing, for instance,
Yeah.
like it's such, if you want to talk about an ROI on your marketing budget, because a lot of times, a lot of companies are wasting dollars left and
Mhm.
right, wasting money on things that they thought worked back in the day or whatever, and they're just doing it. And it's crazy because a lot of times I ask the question about their marketing and what the budget's getting spent, and it's funny because somebody's like, yeah, we just been doing it that way. And honestly, I don't, I'm like, well, what's the return? Like, what are you getting? Is it brand awareness? Is it sales? Is it lead gen? Like, what are you getting out of that? And it's like, well, I don't know. We go to that same trade show every year. I don't know. It's like, are you serious? So like influencer marketing, TikTok, Clubhouse, it's a lot of these newer platforms that are out here. Podcasting is another one. You utilizing these marketing tools can be so powerful at a fraction of the cost of whatever you're spending on whatever the traditional marketing methods are that you've maybe been known for and doing for 20, 30, 40 years. So TikTok is crazy good.
Here's a good example. So I tell financial service professionals, so sorry, every conference coordinator out there right now, don't come hate at me, but I don't want you spending any money on booths. They're stupid. I don't do it. We don't spend one single penny on a booth. You want to give me one? I don't know. We'll set something up. I'm usually not there. I'm out talking too much because I can't stand behind a booth to stand still for too long. But
Yep.
what we believe the money is best spent, set up an experience-based meeting and find out who the top like 20 people are coming or that you want to be in front of. Offer an experience-based opportunity. So for example, if you went to a financial service conference and forget the dine arounds, even those are done in dinners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Set up something that's cool, like the backstage passes for whatever. And you're going to remember that forever. You're going to be right there in that moment. Music's going. And that's what they remember. That is exactly what they remember. And you think about the money you spent, because a conference booth is probably running you somewhere, if I had to guess, $15,000 is probably $8,000 to $15,000 in that range.
Yeah, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, you can easily spend half of that and do something amazing. And that is what Red Bull did. That is, and what they still do. And so many others
still do. Yeah. Experience.
Why? The experience based.
That is the number one thing. So like if anybody doesn't get anything from this podcast, experience. To have your marketing have an experience and ask yourself for that on every single marketing initiative that you have for your company. What's the experience that you have for customer service? What's the experience that you have on your website? What's the experience that you have? And just go down the list and see what that is and answer that question. If it's dull and boring and no one's going to remember it,
yeah, you just threw money down
obviously
the drain.
you got to reevaluate that and see what's going on with them. And that's very interesting because we just did 2 weeks ago, we just did a business pop-up event with a influencer named Sheryl Hickerson.
Mhm.
And so she's a LinkedIn influencer.
Mhm.
And so she came to Milwaukee and we coordinated the entire event, got everything there, but we did it at a business called Forward Space, which
Okay.
Forward Space sells office furniture. And what's amazing is
Mm,
that we literally brought a party to their showroom that
I
they've
love
never
it.
done before, and they've had the most brand awareness engagement they've ever had as a company because of that experience. And
Yeah.
people thought it was the new hotspot. They were showing up like, man, this is dope. Is this the new spot in Milwaukee? Are you guys open every weekend? They were asking, I'm like, dude, they sell office persons, office experience, solutions, they're like,
I
oh,
love it.
okay. But
I love it.
that's what you have to create is an experience. That's what makes it organic. That's what makes it exciting. And that's what makes people start talking about your brand.
Yeah. It's funny. One year I remember at an event, we had a booth space. We didn't set up
Yeah.
anything booth wise. I
Yeah.
hired a barista and he came and I just stood there and handed out coffee to people. And I had my little apron on and I was helping do things too. And people
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
remember, still I walk into places and they go, you had the best coffee at that place. And I'm like, that was a conference like 6 years ago. That thing only cost me $1,200 worth every single penny because
Wow.
you can have the hotel coffee or you can come over here and get the little picture on the top of it and
Yep. Yep.
everything, and I'm standing there talking, I'm handing out, and I was just there to be part of the experience with it, and I figured it worked for Starbucks. Heck, it could work for Cheryl. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
Try it
Why
out. See if
not?
it
What,
works.
what's it
Yeah.
going to do? But it's the experience part of it. And I think, going back to the video marketing thing, I think that's a
Yeah.
really big piece of the missing puzzle of relatability out there
Hmm.
because,
Hmm.
as I mentioned to you when we first started, had we done this just on the phone, like old
Yeah.
fashioned
Yeah.
phone, you'd be like, I don't know what she's about. We got to talk a little bit. You learned about me. I learned about you. Now we're having a very natural discussion. And folks, for those of you listening or watching right now, we just met each other.
Yeah. We're
I
pretty
was
much
like,
best friends.
hey, what's up? Yeah, that was it. And then but we had a common interest, common friend in Amy, but definitely we were able, because of this type of video interaction, able to do that. And I tell you, I think it's the reason why TikTok is just so successful because we're such voyeuristic humans by heart. I mean, it's just who we are.
Right.
We want to see in. We want to tell, I think we experience things deeper when we can see it with our eyes. And, and I know we talked about this too, but I want to make sure I mention it again. And that is, I have watched videos that were not even in English and have cried at the end simply because I understood through the video the
Yeah.
emotional capacity of what the message was about. I could tell you what the message was about simply because you are so good as media companies at capturing that and encapsulating that. And I've told every financial service person, if you got up this morning and posted your stupid white paper, no one's reading it, but I bet you either watched something that made you laugh or you watched something that made you cry, that inspired you, I mean, those are the things that you want to take that and put it into. And I might be off, you're the expert in this, but I think it's going to evolve over time. What are your thoughts on video marketing?
I think it's definitely going to evolve, but it's definitely, like you said before, it's here to stay. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. So I would get real serious about it because it's such a key way of marketing right now. It's the way that people think about it. Video activates so many senses in an individual. When you're watching that, that's where you're getting all that emotion, and then you're like seeing yourself almost in that moment, or you can relate to certain things that it says. So you can do it and activate all different types of emotion, but you want to do video marketing in the way of telling a story. A lot of times you have to tell a story, or you have to be informative or education. So something in a way, not boring either, just spice it up a little bit. Come on, don't, everybody's been in that classroom. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get out of here. This is horrible. But you have
Ninth grade geometry
story.
there.
Yeah.
I remember, and it was graded on a curve. I totally got to say this. And there was a girl in the class who was super smart, and we would all look at her and say one word, and we will kill you. because we're just trying to get out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't,
We don't need
don't ask no questions at the end.
we're just trying to get that C, man. I don't even
Yes.
care, so I totally get it though.
Yes, I mean you gotta so tell a story, and then also I would say just get started. So a lot of people, they don't know, they look at like, I know we need video, I know we need to do it, but
I
I
don't
gotta
like
get
the
the
way I
equipment,
look.
I
I
gotta
don't
do
like my
this, and
voice. I don't like.
you gotta get past.
Yeah.
So a lot of times how you get past that kind of shame of yourself is through confidence, and through confidence you have to gain experience. And how do you do that is by just repetitive, and you do it over and over again. Just get started, literally get your phone, start recording it, and that's it. You don't need all the fancy equipment, you don't need the gear. Yes, there's a how-to and there's a formula for success, I would say, with video marketing, and that's why some people start doing it. You're like, oh, their video's kind of looking kind of janky. But then see some other people, you're like, okay, there's some polish there. I like that. That's I can get with that. Just get started. Yeah, I look at my first videos and I'm just like cringing. But then as you start going through it, you're gonna get better and better. You're gonna gain confidence, which will get kind of mask over what that shame and fear that you're having with yourself. A lot of times you're going to be growing as an individual through video marketing. So just get started. You don't need to know everything about it. But if you're posting on a consistent basis, that's where you're going to see results. So just stick to a plan, be consistent, and just start doing it.
I love it because I say these things. So if you listen to him and not me, please do that. And I'll give him all the credit because I talk about it. I'm like, consistency. I said a cake, you can put all the you can put all the ingredients in the bowl, but if you don't mix it up in consistency, it doesn't work.
Right.
You got to be consistent, schedule it, and it has to be like, it's almost like working out. It's got to happen on the regular.
Yep.
You can't do like 10 jumping jacks and then like, why am I not then?
Yes. Stay consistent. You have to, because otherwise you're going to, like you go to the gym every once in a while, you're not going to see any results. So just be consistent on what you're doing. And that's really the magic of anything, is showing up every single time and saying, I'm here. And honestly, people are going to admire you for showing up. People are going to be like, you know what? They're trying, they're doing it. I wish I could do video. I wish I was doing it that consistent. How do they have the time? How do they do that?
I get that one a lot.
Busy as all could be, and I'm making the time because I know how important this is. So you need to just make sure that people are going to admire you for it. They're not going to pick you apart. They don't care about what you look like or what you said wrong or whatever. No one cares. It's a blip in the timeline.
And if they do, this leads into perfectly to the next question I was going to talk to you about, your book. If you're hanging out with people who do care, well, look at what she did now. You need to change your circle. I say this if I don't say it on a daily basis, it's definitely weekly. That, as a speaker, so I have professionally spoken at probably 200 plus events over the past 10 years. And at no point have I ever stepped up onto the stage and turned around to the audience and thought, they all want to see me suck. They want to see me do terrible. They want to be, no, they don't. Think about you as an audience member. You have gone there to see what? Someone do well. Even if it's, I don't care if it's that, you're going to a music, you're going to a concert. You're there to have a great time and for them to do great. And it's going to be great. And you're going to like all the people. And you go there with the most positive of things, right? I don't think I've ever gone to and in fact, I went to Heart. The last concert I went to was Heart, and I went with my husband's sister, and they were great. But I was so encapsulated with the sign language lady that I was dancing with her, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing. She was like right near us. This is a true story. So about 2 months later, I'm at the St. Louis Lambert Airport. My husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the sign language lady. I danced with you at Heart. She goes, I remember you. I remember you, but I had wanted her to do well and I wanted them to do well. So your book talking about people changing up their circles. I think that this is really, you said just previous, I have lived many lifetimes from changing my circles. Ooh, that was deep, dude. That was really deep. And so I mean it. And I was just on the phone this morning with a friend of mine, Angie Herbers, and she said to me, she goes, you know what I tell people about you? And it's when you go, oh. And I'm like, what did you say, Angie? She goes, you are a network accelerator. If you want to accelerate, you got to be around her. And that's how I'm getting into a lot of times these circles.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if I live my space and time in a circle and it goes beyond,
Yep.
I move into a new circle and they do too. And I don't ever take offense to that, not once.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's really critical to that. So talk about
Yeah.
your book. I'm super excited about this because you talk about it being mindset and action.
It's all about mindset and action, and 50% of each. So you can't do one without the other. But this book is all, I can show it. This book right here.
There it is.
It's all about evaluating your current circle and how do you get into other ones. So how are you able to navigate into other circles that you need to interact and get yourself in the door with the people that you need to be around or that you want to be around? Because your circle, people don't really take the time to evaluate their circle. And a lot of times, like they
let their circles happen to them.
Yes. And they don't even know it. And honestly, it's because of the first thing of the mindset piece, which is people are not self-aware. So once you build up your self-awareness, once you know that and you know yourself, you have self-love, self-worth, and self-awareness, then it's all of a sudden you're like unlocked, you're unplugged from the matrix, and you're able to start to have your own choices, and you can actually be in the driver's seat of your own life. So a lot of things are people are just, this stuff is just happening to people and they're not self-aware enough. And I think self-awareness boils down to 3 ingredients. It's confidence, fear, and perspective. Those 3 ingredients really add up to be your self-awareness. If you can master those things, you can actually start seeing things through a different lens, and you'll be able to approach those and break through fear and have the confidence within yourself and self-love to say, like, no, I don't need to be around these vampires. I don't need to be around these bums that are hanging around me. I don't need to have this negativity in my life. I need to be moved positive. I need positive reinforcement. I need a mentor. I need people to guide me. I want to be around people that are striving to be better. And those people are really your core circle of what's going to be the engine of where it's going to take you where you need to go. And so it's just so important. So that's what this whole book is about how to identify that self-awareness within yourself and how to identify and evaluate your own circle. And then how do I get into other ones? What actions do I actually take to get into other circles so that way I can ultimately change my life?
You know, I appreciate you so much because I'll tell you, for someone like me who, okay, people go, oh, she's extrovert, it's easy for her. No, it's not. I still, the moment that I reached out to you on LinkedIn,
right,
I still have a hesitation when I hit send because I'm thinking, well, is he really going to want to connect with me? I hope he does, because I think we'll have a good dialogue. But you know, it's still there. But I push past the fear of you rejecting me when I think we do have something in common. And I have to trust that if you like Amy and I like Amy, then we probably should talk at least for a second to make sure there's a connection and it clicks.
Right.
And I trust in that. And I think that the other thing is that this idea of changing up your circle. One of the things that I have said to my friends, so I think everybody should have like a personal advisory board, like people that kind of watch out for you when you're not watching out for yourself. Because it's super easy to kind of look over the fence at somebody else's thing.
Of course.
And so I told my friend, we have about a couple of friends that we do that. And this is what I do. And it's really easy because Facebook's super telling. And people can sit there and hate on it and everything, but it's just easy, single sign on. People can share stuff. When I see people in their funk, I will send a text message to a friend and say, read your last 10 Facebook posts and then tell me what you see. A lot of negativity. Something going on? You need to talk? Because I don't want you putting it on Facebook. I want you to pick up the phone, call somebody. Okay.
Right.
And not that I'm saying that Facebook needs to be a love fest, but it is such a telling situation where I can usually read through people's posts. And now, you know what that also tells me? They don't have good circles of people they're around. So for me to stay positive, it's easy because I surround myself in circles of people who are
100%.
at above the level where I'm at, and where I'm striving to go,
Hmm.
And I don't feel bad when it's time to exit the circle into a new circle, a new sphere, and say, you know what, I want to be, and I might be that circle for somebody else. At the
Hmm.
same time, I think one of the things you said were really critical too is being aware, because you can have barnacles, people just hanging on all the time, wanting to be a part of that
Yes.
when they're not willing to do the
Yes.
work to step up to their next level of circles. And
Right.
you know what, friends, for those, you've got to be conscious of this at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be aware of though, because they're like leeches.
Yeah.
They're just there. And you got to understand too that not you, but people that are listening, that those people, sometimes they're around for a season. So a lot of those people
I
that
believe in
they're
the
not.
season and reason. Yeah.
Yes, season and reason, but also like, because people, so as you go through this, as you change your circle, and you're evolving as a human being, some people might not be ready for the evolution
That's
that
right.
you're going to become. So they might still see you at 3 layers, before, or 3 stages before, and they're not seeing the new version of you. And so sometimes it's just not a good fit, and you've outgrown them. And a lot of people, sometimes they really struggle with that, because they're like, oh well, but they've always been there, or I grew up with Jimmy, and blah blah blah. Well, Jimmy's on some other stuff.
Yeah.
So you need to start, you need to evaluate that and see how much does that relationship really, really mean to you. And where are you going? Is that going to help you and to getting there? Because yes, people will attach themselves, and sometimes you got to cut them loose, or you got to put up barriers to protect your own self, because you have to say, is this really worth it? Is this
Yeah.
really worth it for me to go through this? And is it ultimately helping me get to where I'm trying to go?
Yeah. And I think that's really big. I love to wrap up this with actionable education. And someone such as yourself, you really have some impact in a lot of variety of areas between media and marketing and mindset and all of this. What's something that you would want to say to either someone listening, watching right now, that they can immediately act on, do something with? I'd love to hear.
Oh man, I mean, it depends if we're talking about. So we'll do two really quick, really quick.
Okay.
So one is that this is something you could do today. So whenever you're listening to this, watching this, you could do this today. I need you to write down a list of everybody that's in your circle. Just write down on a piece of paper everybody that's on the list. Just put their names down, every single one of them, in your direct circle. So it could be your friends, coworkers, family. It could be spouse. It could be acquaintances. If you go to volleyball every week and you just see the same people, you put down all their names down, and just simply do a plus or a minus next to their name. Just
The
a plus or a
positive and the
minus.
negative. Yep.
That's it. Are they a positive influence on your life, or are they a negative influence on your life? Do you get a positive vibe from them, or a negative vibe? Just to be as simple as that. And then add up the pluses, add up the negatives, and just see where that weighs out. Because honestly, that's what you're around. And you need to see if there's some negatives in there. They're not going to see that piece of paper. So stop thinking about those people. Think about yourself for once. For once, think about yourself and add those up, and then really see who do you need to start reevaluating and seeing what you can do to start getting that going. Secondly, so we'll talk about something on the business end. Honestly, I would really look into, ask yourself, what does my business look like from a 30,000 foot view? So like if no one knows what's going on and all the technical aspect, ask yourself from that super bird's eye view, what does your business do? And also describe that in one sentence. What does your business do in one sentence? Because a lot of times people overstimulate people with a bunch of jargon and stuff, and then phrases and sayings and all this other stuff, when a lot of times people just want to get their solution met. And I understand when people are in the industry for a long time, they like to, say how smart they are, blah, blah, blah. One sentence. What does your business do? And what problem do you solve? One sentence. Because if you can master that and get that pitch right, a lot of things can change for you.
I had someone recently ask me in two words, what does females in finance? Tell me what females in finance is about. And my two words were exclusive and qualified. We do not just allow people to become members. They all have to be qualified to be in our. And so we have a very
Yeah.
exclusive membership because of it. Yeah. And I was saddled with
Wow.
those. I know, right?
Wow. Love it.
Me too.
Love it.
So this has been great. I told you. So we're going to wrap in a fun way. I always ask every guest 3 questions about themselves. You don't know what the questions are. I have to answer them too. This always makes guests a little nervous, especially they're
Mhm.
like, uh-oh, here she goes. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Yeah,
All
I'm good to
right.
go.
All right. All right. So how about this? What is the one place you've always wanted to visit?
Greece.
Greece. I have a friend going there. Anthony, he's going there this September.
Greece. I love
Italy for
Greek
me.
mythology and all of that stuff. So definitely Greece. For
Gotcha.
sure.
And Italy for me. And I was all
Oh,
ready to
Italy.
go. And then
Yeah.
COVID broke out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe not so much right now. Let that one wait.
Yeah, it's kind of running rampant over there.
A little bit over there. I know. I picked the one
Still a
COVID
beautiful
center.
place. I would love to. I would love to go though. I love to go there too.
I know that's on my list. That was because of Eat, Pray, Love. And I think it was the eat part that I just want to go there for a week. How about this? Where is your most inspirational place to work?
Ooh,
Are you work from home or do you like to go?
question? Never been asked that question. Inspirational place to work. I would say, ooh, I mean, anywhere where I can reflect,
Mhm.
like it depends.
I do.
If
I
I'm
get it.
am I trying to be the visionary self of like where am I going, or am I
Mm-hmm.
just trying to hammer out some stuff and get some stuff knocked out? If I'm trying to get some stuff knocked out, um, honestly, just a quiet space with a beautiful view. Quiet space with a beautiful view.
Yeah.
If I need to be a visionary, honestly, anything that's soothing. So a lot of times it's rain, thunder, or water crashing, or a rooftop view where I can just see the whole city. Just views, I think, is
I'm
really
the same way.
inspirational. Yeah.
We travel a lot, and sometimes Daryl and I get tired of being working from home, and he'll say, "Want to go to Tennessee this week? You want to go to wherever?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, you're right there. You might as well. You can just go quickly.
4 or 5 hour drive. It's not bad, but we go to the Ozark Mountains quite a bit because it's easy peasy for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I feel like I sit outside and work a lot, and I just feel like I'm more
nature and all
productive.
that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. How about this? This is my favorite one. I was waiting for today for you. What fashion trend needs to end now?
Oh man, what fashion trend needs to end? Let's see.
Stop trying to bring the fanny packs back. Stop it. Could we just stop it? They're not. I don't want it. The fanny packs.
So I think that I feel like the super like, 'cause I don't like the super baggy jeans, but like when they're like so tight, they look like they're just constricting your whole,
Don't sit down.
I like slim fit stuff. Like it looks nice, but not the ones that are like, yeah, don't sit down, because it's like, and it's so tight. I think, and they're getting shorter. It's like, I feel like, oh, I got it. And I know it's a big fashion thing, but I don't know if I'm really down with the no socks thing. Like no socks with the dress shoes. Like I'm around a lot of people that are models and
Yeah,
and stylists and stuff like that, and they're like, "You gotta rock this, man, no socks." I'm like, nah, man, I don't know if I can get around these smelly feet and I can't do it. That for me, that needs to end. I just wear some ankle socks or something, or maybe do some nice dress. I don't know.
Some ankle socks. I love it.
I don't know. I don't know about the no
Every
socks
single time I see somebody breaking out that fanny pack, I'm like, just stop.
Yeah, just stop it.
Just stop it. All right. I mean, I can't put it away. I know it's exactly how I feel. I mean, come on, just let it go already.
Yeah.
Let it go. It's kind of like,
I agree.
Like Clueless. We're not fetch. It's not stop. It's not cool. See, you get it. You get all my humor. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to be sure to provide ways to reach out to you, connect with you. I'm just so grateful you spent this time with me today.
Oh, thank you.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you. So are you. Keep doing what
it's a
you're
love
doing.
fest, friends. I love it. And for the listeners, I want to thank you for listening to today's episode of The F Word. You can learn more about our guest. I'm Jamar Jones. This guy's great. I just can't wait to tell people I talked to you. I feel like I'm going to be name dropping you all week. And all these topics we covered by visiting the links we're going to provide on his episode page. And if you love this podcast, I know that you did, we want you to subscribe. Make sure you don't keep it a secret. If you share it and put hashtag females and finance in the post, we're going to engage with you as well. We always want you to remember the F word is where females and finance are not dirty words. Thank you for being here today.
Sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.